Just because you go in with the best intentions doesn't mean it'll turn out the way you hoped. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 video games where you're unknowingly the villain.
I have undergone a spiritual cleansing. The warrior Nightwolf had detected an evil stain upon my soul.
For this list, we're looking at games and characters where you initially don't know that you're doing something bad, until the inevitable twist occurs, of course. Games where you willingly take part in evil deeds, like the Grand Theft Auto and Hitman series, are coming up on another list.
I meet a lot of pretty shady characters in my line of work.
We're also excluding games and characters where you have moral choices to make throughout the game, like Mass Effect and Commander Shepard. It should go without saying that there are some super duper high-end spoilers ahead, even when we mentioned the titles, so proceed at your own risk. This is going to be the spoileriest spoiler to ever spoil something. Number 10, Mortal Kombat Deception.
I would very much like to train you myself. Perhaps I can mold you into the next great defender of Earthrealm.
When an emissary of the Elder Gods gives you a task, you'll likely do whatever it takes to complete it. Except for a background check on the person that's talking to you, of course.
Greetings, Shujinko.
Who? What are you?
Do not be afraid.
Shujinko is tasked with collecting the 6 Kamidogus, and it takes him 4 decades to find them all. Then he discovers that the person who sent him on this quest is the evil Dragon King Onaga.
What are you?
Ah, yes. Familiar words.
Learning that you've been working for the ultimate evil is a tough pill to swallow. But learning that you've been working for them for over 40 years, you might as well just let Kano rip your heart out.
Blinded by the lure of adventure, I have endangered the realms and betrayed the Elder Gods. The blame is mine alone. What have I done?
Number 5, Heavy Rain.
The families of the victims of the origami killer asked me to investigate the murders. I came here just to ask you some questions about Johnny.
Scott Shelby is a private investigator working on the case of the origami killer. While playing through his story, you get to talk to the family members who have lost someone to the sinister killer, including a mother who helps you along the way.
Do you know if they found anything on the wasteland? Any leads or witnesses?
But it turns out that Shelby isn't investigating the murders to find the killer. He himself is the killer, and you've been covering your tracks the entire time. Shelby has been searching for a father who loves their son enough to do anything to save him, even if that means drowning innocent children and killing anyone who tries to stop him. Number 8, BioShock Infinite, Burial at Sea Part 1.
Don't get too comfortable. Keep your eyes open.
It seems that BioShock has a thing for making its protagonists into unwilling villains. We don't need to spoil everything here, but suffice to say that the shock part of this franchise almost always has to do with the story.
I just want to take you home.
This tradition continues in Burial at Sea, where Elizabeth asks for Booker's help in finding a young girl named Sally. During their quest, Booker realizes 2 things. 1, he's Comstock, and in this timeline, he's responsible for Anne's death.
Let her go! Let her go!
She's mine! Shut it down! Shut down the machine!
You've got to pull her through!
Shut down the machine!
He tries to apologize to Elizabeth, but it's too little, too late.
I am so sorry.
No, you're not. But you're about to be.
Number 7, Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age. It's one thing to not know that you're the villain until the end of the game, but to not know until the sequel? Isaac sets out to stop the eternal lighthouses from being lit. He succeeds in killing his 2 main foes, and it should be a victory celebration from there. Cue the sequel. Felix picks up where the first game's villains left off. Or should we say heroes? It turns out that Isaac was wrong and that the lighthouses actually need to be lit to prevent the world from collapsing in on itself. So, not only were you unintentionally dooming the world in the first game, you killed 2 people who were trying to protect it. Good going. Number 6. Nier.
I knew you'd come around.
We expect our action RPGs to follow a simple formula: eradicate all monsters on screen, especially when it means gaining experience points and money along the way. So here we are, slaying some wicked creatures called Shades, who are the remnants of humanity. Apparently, 1,300 years ago, humanity faced extinction, and in an attempt to survive, they separated their souls from their bodies. Then, they created clones who would later reconnect with these souls, but those clones began to form their own identities.
What is the destination of souls?
I answer. They are placed in their corresponding shells.
Nier was meant to be a vessel who reunited with the Shadow Lord, who isn't actually the villain like we're led to believe. He simply wants to restore his daughter and humanity as a whole. Oops.
What?
Number 5. Silent Hill 2.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
In this classic, if a bit blocky horror thriller, our protagonist James Sutherland enters the desolate, foggy town in search of his wife Mary, after receiving a letter from her. Oh, did we mention that she died 3 years ago?
A dead person can't write a letter.
In any other town, this search would be crazy, but this is just another day in Silent Hill, where all of the monsters who have been terrorizing us, including the iconic Pyramid Head, are manifestations of James's psyche because he killed his wife, no longer able to handle the sickness that had been plaguing her.
I'd do anything if I could be with her again.
Number 4. Braid. If Super Mario Bros. Has taught us anything, it's that when there's a princess to save, you better go save her, bro. Braid plays on that notion as Tim searches for a princess who has been captured by a horrible and evil monster. End quote. We don't know much about his connection to the princess, but we know that he made some kind of mistake and he's trying to rectify it, hence the rescue, we assume. The good news is that the princess is saved. The bad news is it's not by you. The last stage of the game reveals that the princess has been running away from Tim, the real monster of the story. Number 3. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. We know we said no moral choice characters, but Darth Revan is a special case. Okay, so let's say there's an ultimate evil that you have to defeat. Now, let's say that the ultimate evil used to have a master who disappeared.
All this time and you still haven't figured it out.
A Star Wars interpretation to the phrase, "I learned it by watching you." It turns out that you're the former master of the game's main antagonist, Darth Malak.
Recognize that you were once the Dark Lord, and know that I have taken your place.
The Jedi had your character's memories wiped, so he or she would no longer be a threat. It's up to you what to do with that information, but the fact still remains. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, you were the biggest asshole.
You are weak. I was right to betray you. You are not fit to rule the Sith.
Number 2. Spec Ops: The Line.
You did this. No, you did.
The life of a soldier isn't an easy one, as they not only put their lives on the line on a daily basis, but they also have to make some difficult decisions.
Whatever you say, Walker. No matter what happens next, don't be too hard on yourself.
The horrific events that go on in this game are bad enough to deal with, ranging from choosing who to execute to accidentally using white phosphorus on innocent civilians. But it all comes to a head in the game's gut-wrenching conclusion.
The truth, Walker, is that you're here because you wanted to feel like something you're not, a hero.
Conrad, the game's antagonist, is revealed to be a traumatic hallucination of Captain Walker, your character. The real Conrad committed suicide, and Walker's been using him to try and rationalize his actions.
I know the truth is hard to hear, Walker, but it's time. You're all that's left, and we can't live this lie forever.
Before we reveal our number 1 pick, we have every intention to reveal these honorable mentions. Sorry.
I wish I could tell you how you did, but alas, this is a recording. You will have to figure it out all by yourself.
one could have similar doubts about Shella or you know. It ain't like we really know who you are.
You don't trust me?
Number 1. Shadow of the Colossus. We could place the blame on Dorman, but honestly, your character Wander is not innocent in this either. At no point does he question Dorman, the god telling you what to do, and I guess we as the player don't question him either. We're so used to saving the girl and taking out the towering creatures that we encounter in video games that it never occurs to us that maybe, just maybe, the Colossi are the good guys. Also, why is Lord Emmon pursuing Wander to begin with? And who is this girl we're trying so hard to revive? And how did she die exactly? Like any good game that makes us feel bad for our actions, some of these questions go unanswered. Do you agree with our list?
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Oh! Which video game hero turned out to be the biggest villain of them all for you? For more top 10s published every day that have the best of intentions, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
It's kind of hard to explain, but...
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.